I'm about to call Mark from MJ Aquascaping because I'm going to get his advice on how to build my first Iwagumi scape in the studio in this tank right here. All right, man, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. What about you?
I got a couple things that I'm working with here, and I was hoping I could get some advice.
Yeah, of course, man. Let's hear it.
Check this out. I've got this 75-gallon tank. It's packed with seiryu stone. I want to take this down and turn it into a cichlid tank, but this would be my source of seiryu stone for the Iwagumi, which I want to do right here in this planted tank.
Okay, so a couple pointers. First of all, the new tank, the 30-gallon, is of course very different in dimensions.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to use less rocks and just pick out the nicest ones.
Okay.
And also think about the composition, especially in that other tank. You want to bank up the substrate quite high, and you want to see if you can figure out a way to use some substrate supports. I actually like to make these myself with tissue culture cups. If you can imagine a tissue culture cup, if you cut out the bottom and then just cut them in strips, then you have like a little plastic sheet which you can burrow into the substrate, and that will keep the aqua soil in place. Because you already have a tank on the left side, you know, the left side of the tank will not be very visible. So you could just bank up the substrate all the way towards the left and then have the rocks pointing towards the right. That could look pretty cool.
Okay, well, I can picture it, man. I think I'm going to give this a shot, and I appreciate your advice, and I'm going to check in with you about halfway through, and
awesome, man.
We'll see how it's going.
I'm looking forward to it. Keep me posted.
All right, I'm feeling inspired, and the first thing that I want to figure out is which of these stones is going to be my main stone. The challenge that I've got right off the bat, though, is that this used to have a piece of driftwood glued to it in a sand bed, and I've got some of that sand that I got to take care of, so we'll take care of that. It's going to be sweet. This thing is going to be awesome. Take a look at and it's going to be shooting out like that. I'm gonna grab this stone not to compete or use as a main stone, but I'm actually gonna glue that other stone to this. Like Mark was saying, this is such a tall aquarium, I gotta really get some height. But before we do that, we gotta take care of the sand. So we got this all cleaned out. Now we're ready to start building it up. So I have a couple of the big bags of lava stone in here, but I do want to avoid the sliding of the aqua soil that I was experiencing in that tank off of these as it builds up. So I'm going to use those as a solid base because I know that they're going to be covered pretty thickly. Then I'm going to take some extra loose lava rock here and I'm going to build up the rest of this mound. I think that's going to hold the soil. And then once the plants arrive and I get the tissue culture cups, I'm going to use MJ's trick to make sure everything is rock solid. I'm going to put this in here. I think that's going to be that's going to give me the angle that I want as it hugs that. Then this will be glued here. And then all of that will be filled in. I don't think I'm going to use this. I might, we'll see. I got my main stones here that I'm going to glue together. I want to make sure I remember the composition. This is going to be at the top to the bottom, then this is going to be glued to that. And then I got my medium and I got my small. So let's get to gluing. Go. So we've got this set up here, and I'm going to gently try to gently drop that in there. I am going to pour the soil in and then I think place a couple of these final stones. All right, I've been messing around with this a little bit. I've moved this back slightly, and actually I'm less concerned as I was in the beginning of having that bottom base stone show, because by actually adding this one in under here, I've basically made this all look like one rock or one little rock pile, which totally works. in my opinion at least. And thinking about the thirds here, the first third I think runs just right through the center of this rock, and the second third is right about here. So this is taking up 2/3, which is what I was going for. And then these other rocks here, I just was messing around with their positioning, burying some of these a little bit more than others, having a couple of these in some different positions here, but leaving this open for a meadow. And so I'm looking at this as one rock. We got one back here, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all these little gaps here can be filled in with some moss. I'm gonna fill in this sand spot with moss. And then we're gonna get hairgrass in here. So I think let's fill this thing up, see how it looks. And then we're gonna call MJ back and be like, hey man, how did we do? Let's find out. All right, what's up guys? So it's been a couple of days. This line didn't seem very natural, so I lowered the substrate line here, and what that did was it revealed the base rock that the mother rock was glued to try to look like one rock and give this thing height. And the problem with that is now that doesn't look very natural, right? So I gotta fix that. I'm gonna take that out, I'm gonna go fix it, and we're gonna re-glue it. And then I added a couple other rocks in here to start playing with it, and I think more of that work has to be done. But before we do that, you ready to see it?
Yeah, man, that's
all right.
I'm excited.
Here we go.
Oh, nice, man.
Is that a good reaction?
That's really good, actually.
Tell me what I need to know to not screw up the next part of this.
Are you using one plant?
Yeah, just hairgrass. I've got, I think, 20 cups.
20?
Yeah, so I want to...
I feel sorry for you, man.
Thanks. We'll let it sit for a few weeks. Might do a check-in with you, and then we'll see if we can get ourselves a carpet here. All right, man. Well, I'm going to get after it. It's going to be a long morning.
Good luck and keep me posted, man.
All right, sounds good. Take it easy, man. All right, you guys, tank is drained. It's time to start planting. I've got 20 of these cups from AquaZen of dwarf hairgrass, and I'm going to get to it. I need to split these out into a bunch of little pieces, as MJ showed me, and then I'm going to start planting. Let's do it. I wanted to make sure that they were in there really good so that I limited the amount of floaters that I got. And so they're pretty densely packed, even though you don't see as much as you would think with the amount that I put in there. That's because some of these are planted pretty low. Plants are all in. That was a big task, but I'm excited to see where we go from here. I'm gonna fill this thing up and then we'll wait and see. You guys, it has been 5 weeks. I'm really excited about how this hairgrass is growing in. In fact, we're about to call MJ, show him where we're at. He actually gave me a tip along the way to trim the hairgrass as it was growing in, because that was gonna cause it to strengthen, shoot out little runners, get greener, and that has absolutely happened. I probably trimmed this thing 4 times along the way, but here we are. And so we'll continue to grow in, but we're gonna show MJ where we're at. But before we do, let's give it one final trim. Let's go.
Mr. Jesse.
MJ, what's going on, buddy? I'm ready to show you where you're at. You ready?
Yeah, man, I'm very curious.
All right, here we go. Check this out.
Hey, it's looking good, man.
Yeah? We got so we got the hairgrass growing in. The tufts are nice and strong and green and bright. A little bit of connectivity that I want to continue to work on, right? Like just in the spacing there. But the individual ones, and there are some runners, but the individual ones are nice and strong. You told me to clip them to give them a little bit more, activity, get them to start sprouting, and that's totally worked, which is awesome. So at this point, is it just a matter of time?
Just gotta be patient, and I'm guessing you'll probably start adding in fish soon. And once you're adding in fish, you're also adding in more nutrients, so they'll probably start growing faster.
Awesome. Yeah, well, that's exactly what we're about to do, man. I've got a little school of rummy nose tetras ready to go. I'm going to get them in here. And I'm super excited about how this turned out, and just wanted to say thanks again.
Yeah, you're welcome, and then great job, really. It looks really good.